Hello everybody, this is a quick tutorial on using type and shapes in Autodesk Sketchbook. And this is specifically for students who are working on the project, the monogram project. And it is a way to, use shapes and actually bits and pieces of text. I'm going to show you how to sort of erase parts of text to help create your monograms and not just simply sort of drawing them, but you can actually build them with shapes, and sometimes they look a little bit cleaner. So I'm going to actually turn off these layers here, and I'm going to show you, this is just a quick little sketch that I did just with the paintbrush here. I just went over and clicked this, and then I drew in my initials. And let's say I wanted to draw or build shapes. Using this as an example. So what I can do is I can go over to my layer here. I can click on it once, and then I can go maybe bring the opacity down so I can see it just a little bit. And then I can go actually up here to my, can do a couple of things here. I'm going to actually use the marquee tool, or the rectangle. They're calling it the rectangle tool. I'm used to calling it the marquee tool. But you basically just drag out a shape like this. Maybe I'll make it something like this. And then you can fill it in with the paint bucket right up top here. Paint bucket, and then dump in right now. Oops, you know what? I forgot to go to a new layer. So I'm going to undo that. And I'm going to make a new layer over here, right here. Hit the plus sign, and now I can dump in my color. I can go back up to the paint bucket and then dump that color in. And there we go. Okay, sorry about that. Now I'm going to show you a new thing. I'm not sure we've talked about this yet, but this is if you wanted to create sort of a crisp line or a crisp-ish line, it's not super crisp, but what we want to do is we're going to try to create this arc right here that's going across the S and the H. So what we're going to do is going to go to, we're going to go up to this tool, which is our guides, and we're actually going to use the bent or the curved ruler. And what you can do is you go down here, here's the ruler right here, and if you click anywhere on the ruler, you can bring that up, and you can determine how much of a curve you want. And I want to do something like, oops, and move it around, do something like that, where the ruler is just basically hitting the corners here. You can see that. So if you use your eraser for this, and you make sure the flow is all the way up to 100, what you can do is something like that. You can create a curve like that. I don't really like how much feathering is going on there. It's kind of a soft look. So if you don't want that, you can bring your size way, way down. And so I'm going to undo what I did there. I'm going to undo that, and we'll see what happens when I use this. Okay, much cleaner. So if I wanted to create this arc fully here, I could kind of bring this up here, and I'm going to, oops, keep that there. I'm going to taper this in, do something like that, and now I can go back to my eraser, and I can see it's only affecting where the ruler is, which is kind of neat. So I am now going to deselect. I'm going to click. When you want to deselect, when you get rid of this ruler here, you can go up to this tool here and hit done, and then it will get rid of it for you. So so I want to keep this middle piece here, so I don't want these two guys here. So what I can do is I can go up to this tool here. I can click on that. I can do the magic wand, And I can move my tolerance up a little bit, and I can click there. I just clicked this top section here of this blue. Actually, you know what the easier thing to do might be is to actually select what I do want. So I selected just this, and I'm going to go over to my layer right here. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to go to cut, which is right here. Hit cut, gets rid of it, and I'm actually going to delete this layer now. I'm going to hit delete. And actually, I could do a couple of things here. I could actually just paint bucket fill this selection back in. I could do that. See what that does. Yeah, so that's on that that same layer. I made that same mistake. So I'm going to make a new layer and dump that in, and there it is. There's my shape. So I can move that down. You'll notice that it does have this outline here, which I don't want. But I can simply erase that. I still have this thing in memory too, so I could, if I wanted to, I could paste it into a new layer. But you can see that it's starting to form this this shape right here. So I can go to, what do I want to do here? Go to my transform, and I'm going to try to match it pretty close. Now I don't want to have this section right here showing. So what I could do is I could go back up to my selection area. I can go to the rectangle. I can just do something like that, and then I can click on the layer and then hit clear, and that gets rid of it. Okay. So I'm kind of on my way here. I could build the rest of this just with probably the line tool. Actually, I can go up to the, let's see, I don't want the guides. I want to go to, here we go. So draw styles, I've got the line here. I've also got the oval. So I've got, I want to do this on different layers too. Always want to make sure you're on different layers. I can, oops, I have that selected. You don't want to be drawing with your eraser. You can't do that. So I'm going to use the pen tool, make sure the line's pretty big. There we go. And then I could do something like that. Now for my curves, I can't make the curve with the line tool, so I'm going to try the oval tool. And I'm going to try to get a shape that's kind of close to what I need for the S. And then I can go back to my ruler. And I actually want to go to a new layer for that. Go to my oval tool, go to my ruler, go to my guides. You can use your finger for this too. You don't have to use your pen or stylus. And I'm going to, something like that maybe. That's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to move it down just a little bit. I'm going to use the eraser again, get rid of what I don't need. And now, oops, I'm going to deselect and go to my magic wand, select what I do want, and then go back to my layer, hit cut, and then delete that layer. And now I can fill it again. And there we go. So now I've got shapes that I think I can probably use for both the top of the S and the bottom of the S. It might need a little bit of finessing. And I keep doing this. I keep putting it on the same layer. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to hit cut, new layer, and then I'm filling this in again. Okay, finally. Made the same mistake 3 times in the same video. Unbelievable. Okay, so I'm going to Now I'm going to go to here. I'm going to move this guy. You notice I still have that outline on the very top here. I can get rid of that later though. I can rotate this around. Make it smaller. That's kind of interesting. I like how it's actually lining up right here. Well, it's not quite lined up, but I can move it. That's kind of interesting. What I don't like is I've got sharp edges here, or edges here, and I've got rounded edges here. I'm gonna have to clean that up in a second. But I can take that and I can duplicate this, and then I can move it down. If I select the right button, there we go. And now I'm going to flip it, and I don't know if you just saw, I just did flip vertical. See that? If you go up here, this is flip vertical. And then I can rotate this. And I'm not sure this is going to work quite as well. I think I don't want to just flip vertical, I want to flip horizontal too, I think. And then I can rotate this. Okay, that's interesting what that's happening there. I'm going to have to do a little slicing here, I think, in order to get that to work out. But you can see it's starting to come together. I could connect the top piece here, right here, and then bring it down. There's a little bit of a bump here, which is not great. I could bring that up, and that's getting better. I can also use my nudge tool right here. Nudging it will bring it over 1 pixel at a time, which is nice. And I could erase what I don't need and get rid of this part right here. All right. I still see this little bump right here, which is not great. But it's coming together. If I wanted to get rid of the roundness on the top here, I could go to my ruler again and go here, bring that down. Maybe I bring it like that. And then I use my eraser. Okay. And it only will erase what you have got your ruler right up against. So that looks better. I'm going to just deselect, and I'm going to use my eraser again to get rid of the stuff left behind. Okay, so that's looking better. It would be even better if this kind of went right up against the H and kind of, there wasn't as much negative space here, I think, but we're getting there. So that is how you can build your monogram just out of a couple of shapes. There is still some fine tuning and things I can do here. I wanted to lastly show you a couple of things here. I'm gonna get rid of these things. Okay, so I created this shape. This is sort of an organic shape that I created just with the this oval tool here. So if I were to, whoops, close. I'm gonna make a new layer here. Not sure if you can hear in the background, my son's got a Zoom meeting going. He's doing a music class right now. So if I fill this in, and then I go to my selection, magic wand. So if I brought the tolerance down, it'll just select the inside, which is what I want. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna deselect that. Just get the, oh, it's not getting. Okay, there we go. And now I go here, I go to my layer and I hit cut. And I'm gonna delete this layer actually, put a new layer. Deselect that, oops. Go to a new layer and then paste that in. There we go. Okay, so one thing that we haven't talked about yet is the transform tool or the distort tool. This is a pretty cool tool. You can, not only can you resize things like that, but you can also do things like this. This is pretty interesting. So you can also, oh, okay. You can also create these kinds of shapes. This looks almost like a guitar pick or something. And look at this. You can create, if you pull it all the way to the sides, you can actually create these kind of rounded-ish shapes here. So that could help you also on your journey with your monogram as well. That's kind of a nice shape. So I've got this shape here. Let's say you had an L or something in your name. This looks like a backwards L. So if I went to my settings up here and I did flip, there's an L right there. And let's say you wanted to make a C. Maybe your initials are LC. I'm going to do a duplicate layer there, and then I'm going to move this over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the ruler or the guide that we were working with just a little while ago. I'm going to move that over here, and then do something like this. Just lining it up to the edges here. And now I'm going to go to my eraser and take out a chunk. Actually, I'm looking at this and I really want to move this up here. And I'm going to go back to my eraser. Okay, that's better. The reason I moved it was because I really wanted to get the whole curve in there and not just a portion of it. So now I'm going to go back to my little four arrow tool there, the selection tool. And then I'm going to, you guessed it, I'm going to go into my selection. I'm going to go to Magic Wand, select that. I'm going to hit the layer. I'm going to hit cut. And then I'm going to click on the layer again, hit delete. And we're going to fill this in. Make sure we are doing a new layer. I want to choose a new color too. Okay. Oops. And pink bucket. Okay, well, let's see. So if I move this guy over now, okay, the thing I'm noticing is that it really does not go with this right here. So I'm going to have to do some finessing and make that curve a little bit better. So I can do that with my distort tool. I can take that. I can take this. Kind of make it appear more going along with that arc. There, that's better. Negative space is a little bit better there. It's a little bit more even. The thing that is not working so well is it doesn't look like a C anymore. So that's kind of the whole point of this. So that doesn't, it's a lot of trial and error with this. I'm gonna erase that just because it's bothering me. Oops. So you can make these monograms out of purely shapes, like we did with the S and the H. You could also, if you wanted to, you could also use, let's say we have the letter T here, and this is looking like an airline logo. If you want to make the T larger, you can do that with your fingers. Let's say I wanted to just use a portion of this. I could just, let's say I just really want to use the bottom part of this T. I don't want to use the whole thing. Very simple. Once you type in a letter, it actually becomes artwork. So you can use your selection tool. Let's say I just want to get, actually let's do it this way. Let's say I just want to use this bottom part here. What you can do is click on this and then hit cut. And now you can delete the layer. And then we go to a new layer and then hit paste. There it is. So you can also use the distort tool for this. You will notice some pixelization happening here because this program is not vector based, it's pixel based. So you're going to see some feathering there. But this is another way that you could create some interesting shapes just by using parts of letters. So maybe you start off with a letter and then you erase parts of it, and you can also duplicate it. And maybe you can build your monograms that way. We have the symmetry tool. I don't want to use that actually. I'm going to go do this. It's kind of interesting. What's happening here? It's actually not quite lined up. But you could have if your initial starts with I, if you have an I in there, that could be interesting. So it's a few things on how to create your letters, your initials, out of shapes. Hope you found that interesting.